Okay, hello. Uh,
Hello.
I'm very happy to be hosting the last talk of the season. My name is Ekta and I work at Mara. I've been around from the time we founded it in 2008. Every year we do an arts festival called October Jam, which is usually loud, crowded, mental, and like super exciting but also super stressful. This year we kind of chose to go a bit inward and stay a little quieter and kind of reflect on some of the things we haven't been able to pay attention to over the last 17 years. It's not enough time, as we know. But it's called repair. So we've been kind of internally repairing things inside the collective, but also thinking about the idea of repair, politically looking at things outside people we work with and things like that. And so this year we only kind of organized mostly talks and films and people we collaborate with, like having internal gatherings and things like that. So the talks are something we thought we could go public with because we are bringing very significant people in the field who are actually raising questions which are not so easy to answer in this current political climate. And I think their works really inspire us. So today's talk is around translation, and we like to consider it to be a kind of act of resistance, an act, just the translation as an act of everyday resistance, but also as a political resistance. And we have with us two very dedicated, committed translators with us, Pritam Chakravarty and Dadapeer Jayman. Um, we've known, yes, we can do a quick applause. Our dear friends. Of course, they are very dear friends. We've known them for a while now. Pritam, of course, goes back to 2008. Ever since I first saw Pritam on stage, I knew that we would be working with her forever. And we're trying our best to keep that conversation alive between us. So today's talk, I just want to read out a little bit about what it's kind of broadly going to cover, because translation is such a wide kind of spectrum of things. It can mean so many things. And particularly in the works of both of theirs, it can go even more deeper. So, how we framed it is that translation has been and is one of the most contested sites in today's literary climate and political climate. We believe that translation gives birth to languages that are beyond the written word through artistic expression and also archiving different forms of history. Yet we feel that still some things are not translatable. I'm very happy that both Pritam and Dadu have had an experience also with performance. So they will be talking a little bit about how translation goes beyond words. In a climate of linguistic chauvinism, regional battles, and insider outsider conflicts, translation, we believe, is also an act of resistance to challenge dominant discourses. In this talk, we hope to explore the laborious process of translation and if it is guided by instinct, politics, or emotion. Um, Further, can translation also be a way of queering language by bending, stretching it to create something that perhaps didn't exist in its original form? How can we look at translation as a provocation to alter the ways in which knowledge itself is framed? So we are really happy that Pritam Chakravarty and Dadapeer Jayman are both kind of going to help us decode some of these really complicated questions before us. In shaping this talk, I've been in conversation with them for the last 2 3 weeks now, and even this framing is kind of guided by both of them. So I'm very glad that there's been a very proactive effort in both of them trying to understand each other's works and histories. So, a quick bio beyond my personal love for the two of them. I just want to introduce Pritam Chakravarty first. Pritam Chakravarty is a writer, translator, independent researcher, playwright, director, performer, film critic, and an activist from Chennai. She has extensive experience in theatre over the last 4 decades. Her well known performance includes Meendam Meendam, Suryamukam, and her own solo piece, Nirvanam, which was around the transgender community in Chennai. She is a professional translator who has many books to her credit in English, such as the Tamil Pulp Fiction Anthology, Volume 1 and 2, uh, a compilation of folk stories by K.
Rajnarayan.
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 Yeah. And also, because several of his stories, it's 3 books that she has translated, which is very, very laborious works and beautiful stories that are still relevant to the contemporary times. And also, The Taming of Women by Shivakami, which was also published by Penguin India. The Final Solitude by S. Ramakrishna, and also Zero Degree.
Mhm.
You also translated that, which is
Yes,
one of
yes.
my favorite books too. So that's Pritam. I mean, can you imagine the range of experience we're talking about over here? Um, Moving on to Dadu, I'm just gonna. That's Dadu. uh, Dadapeer Jayman is a Kannada poet, short story writer, translator, and independent researcher based in Bangalore. His work moves beyond poetry, translation, and reflections on gender, culture, and marginalities. As a translator, he rendered Parda and Polygamy, Life in an Indian Muslim Household by Iqbal Unisa Hussain into Kannada, which received the Kuvempu Bhasha Bharati Prize. Dadu participated in the Yali Translators Residency, connecting with fellow young translators, and is currently working on a major forthcoming Kannada translation. He also worked on kind of writing Rumi Harish's autobiography, which is called Jaunpuri Khayal, which is also a very, very beautiful book. So we have with us like people, which makes my ears turn a bit red. You can see it because they've done so much of work, and it makes us even inside Mara kind of think about the complexity of translation and what this word really means, especially for translators who've kind of embodied the translations into their work across different practices. So, without saying more, I'm just going to request Dadu to kind of maybe just share a few thoughts on how he approaches translation, what motivates him to translate, and what his process of translation has been so far.
Thank you, Ekta, and thank you, Mara, for giving this opportunity to participate in this discussion and talk. I just want to share my journey of translation so far. So, translation for me, as told by Jayan Kakini, is like transferring a perfume from one bottle to other bottle. And also translation is like taking other skits to our Uru and make both of them meet, Uru to kid and kid to Uru. And also, as I experience, there is a pain in translation, there is a pleasure in translation. Also, translation demands discipline, and also in a true way, it is like a meditative process. Translation also allows us to uh, go near to the language, as near like it is so near to the language. Sometimes I feel like I'm in one electronics department checking all the wires, if it's correct or not. Sometimes we don't put efforts, that much efforts for our writing, but we'll end up, putting the efforts for the translation which we perceive. So I feel like every day we tell stories. Likewise, every day we translate one or the other thing. Sometimes from one language to other language, sometimes in the same language, because human communication is so complex to understand. Sometimes we translate from one medium to other medium. So in this way, translation happens one or the other way. So then, if we end up telling stories on a daily basis, if we end up translating one or the other thing on a daily basis, then why do we need to translate? Or so this why factor, as an answer for this why factor, I think the answers of instinct, emotion, and the politics comes into picture. So I started my journey with translating Pada and polygamy. To be very honest, I studied in Kannada medium till 10th standard, so I always feel like, oh, I don't know English, I don't know English, or how to get a grip over a English language. Then, so my publisher and a mentor and a very good writer in Kannada, Vasurendra, approached me with this book called Parda and Polygamy. Hey, can you translate this? I sense that, so he realized he knew my community. I belong to a community called Pinjara community in Islam religion. This Pinjara community is like religiously fluid, and they speak more of Kannada rather than Urdu and Hindi. So I think he might have felt like, okay, which is a great pitch to get it translated, okay, from this fellow. So I just read what is this novel is about. So this novel is published in 1944. Is one of the first English works by an Indian Muslim woman. It captures the intimate world of women inside parda, their joys, resistances, and subtle rebellions, and serves as a rare social document of Muslim domestic life and reformist thought. So this is there in the original text only. Okay, when anyone reads the original text of Pardhan Polygamy, it's available in archive. So we get this information. So when I read this Pardhan Polygamy, first thing which struck me is of instinct and emotion. And I feel the politics is inherent with all of us because everything is political. So every person's, believe and stand by one politics and usually work around that politics to establish their politics. Um, and also I perceive this Pardhan polygamy from a critical insidership point of view. Uh, Sometimes I also ask this question of why do I need to translate? So the answer is like, answer which I found out or becoming clearer over the time is like, hey, this is a book which I cannot write. Even how much ever effort I put, I cannot write this book in Kannada. That is one answer. Also, nowadays, I'm also figuring it out. Is it really, really important for the Kannada zone? Or else already in terms of knowledge production, in terms of experience, in terms of the social movements and political movements, so is that text almost it's there or not? For me, that is also very one important thing which I usually check. So why do I need to translate this text? And then later, I translated Shrikant Verma's Magad. So it so happened that I was just attending as an audience as Bangalore Literature Festival, Bangalore Poetry Festival. So Rahul Soni was reading this text of Magad. It's so what I'll first tell okay, what Magad is all about. Um, so Magad is a landmark Hindi poetry collection that reimagines ancient cities like Kashi, Magad, and Ujjaini to comment on modern politics and society. Its deceptively simple tone hides deep reflection on power, decay, and survival, making it hauntingly relevant even today. So, so what really fascinated me about this Magad is like, I just sense that how much ever, starting from mythology and history and even the current political scenario, so what remains as trivial. So some things doesn't change. So I think that fascinated me in that book called Magad. So I thought like, oh, which though it is mythological references, history references, even the Kannada circle also can connect with it. And also, in terms of form, I felt like it is so simple poetry. Uh, so translating that text was also kind of a challenging because it's already simpler in English. Then how can I translate uh, that into Kannada? Sometimes which looks like oh, it's almost like city names and only that name. Then what this person have done. So I think there it is challenging for me to translate this Magar. And then I got an opportunity to translate Barren Land, written by Dimitri Gorish. So Barren Land is a German Swiss play explores the emptiness and resilience of people caught in political uncertainty, displaced lives trying to rebuild meaning. It's an intimate portrait of isolation, belonging, and human endurance. So, of course, it's a commissioned translation, to be very honest. But what really stuck with me or stayed with me after reading the text was like only one abstract idea of the human resilience and the efforts human beings put in that political uncertainty conditions. So in Kannada context, sometimes we don't connect to few things in terms of social movements, in terms of war, in terms of that, in terms of this. Then where the Kannada circle or Kannada readers can take an entry. So what actually connects and what actually they can put an effort to imagine the lives of people who you know who was put under the political uncertainty. Sooner or later, I think we'll all end up some or the other way in the conditions of political uncertainty. That is the story of Barren Land. And then, okay, now I'm working on one translation. It is a book written by Tamil writer Dilip Kumar. Book name is Cat in the Agraharam. So it is set in North Chennai. These stories portray Gujarati families who migrated there generations ago. With humor and ache, they explore migration, belonging, and the mix of languages and customs that shape identity. So the text, intergenerational wit and tenderness moved me deeply, and it's about home, displacement, and cultural crossings, all themes I relate to. So, uh, and one more interesting thing about this cat in Agraharam and the Kannada word is like even in Kannada, in the places like Raichuru, even in cities also, so many people migrate and they become one with the very social location. Then I think that I felt like, oh, the Kannada word can connect it, and I felt like which might uh, uh, motivate them to see the struggles of other people in a different light, I thought. And I also I got a chance to work on some queer lexicon for media. I think it's a very interesting experience because here it is only words we have to translate. Uh, the major challenge was like we keep the English words only for the words like gay, lesbian, and some other terms, and let's say trans, or should I coin some words in Kannada? And even in coining the word Kannada, so being a linguist, or even if I ask some linguists whom I know, should I consult the community or not? So even if I want to consult community, the question which struck me was, okay, whom do I ask? Uh, so, so these questions really made that whole journey a very interesting journey, and also this lexicon. I think different people from the movement and activism also gave a try to coin some different words, and also so many arguments. So should I coin one new word and uh, make the Kannada word a familiarized word, or make it normalized so that they make their make those words as their own. I think these are the very interesting questions. Still not came to a conclusion because anyone who takes up this journey might come up with some different challenges. And I also helped in translating Masculinity Report. It's a non-fiction, semi-academic document. It's a very a great report which I felt. So here the struggle was two things. One is what is it to translate a non-fiction document and how it is different from translating a fiction. And also, then, okay, now we have reached the AI era. So, how much of AI help so can we take? So should we see AI as a competitor, or should we perceive AI as a friend so that who's helping, but still we have a grip of quality control, or so of choosing what is right and what is not. I also feel like translation is also about the choices we make, because I feel like okay, we are in a village fair and we have so many things in front of us, and okay, now we have to choose. So what words should we use? How can we make it as relatable to Kannada, but still it's not an adaptation, but still it is saying the story of those human beings, what they're experiencing in that different socio-political and economical conditions. So, and last, I think it's so messy notes I made. I also, one thing came to my mind when I was thinking about this translation as a resistance as a topic. Of course, it is important that translation should happen because it also bridges the void which might have been created in that state, in that language. And also I feel like it is also gives an it is also doing a commentary on knowledge production in that state. It is also critiquing and commenting about the knowledge production, and also which also bridges that gap. And So, in a first place, I'm a writer, that too a fiction writer. For me, what I realize in this all these projects is uh, like I'm doing in fiction writing. I always go behind some abstract idea or some flash, and then I'll make search around that abstract idea. I think I also felt like even in translation, my process is almost like similar. Though it is about instinct, though it is about emotion we connect to, though it is about the politics we want to work around. But I also feel like translation also gives an space to work around that abstractness. So that is one thing, and also last one thing. So it is also about co-writing. Ita was saying, if I can say so, that recently worked on a script on marginalized adolescent kids in Bangalore. The script is called Minchina Ata. So initially, it was supposed to be the writer has to write it, but later it turned out to be a co-writing process. Then the director came into the picture. Then the actors came into the picture. So that very act of allowing some other people from a very writer point of view was really challenging in a way. So but see, convincing me that it is democratic. So we are also allowing all experiences to add on to the devising script. So that is about co-writing, which I want to share. Later we can again talk. Even I have a lot of few questions to Pritam and.
Okay. Thank you, Dadu. That's like a range of different things that you've opened up, which can all be different talks in themselves. But moving to Pritam before I ask a couple of questions. The thing with Pritam, I just feel like you've actually managed to really shape discourse with translation, and somewhere I feel you've embodied translation uh, as a as a kind of living force inside you, because the commitment that I could see in Tamil pulp fiction as well as in Rajnarayan's folk tales, I feel like I would never know this, and it really shaped my way of thinking around what we consider, correct, or this kind of respect that we have to give to polite manners. I don't know, it just opened up a Pandora's box when I read Tamil pulp fiction, and I feel it was very inspiring to think that there's so many subversions in how people live their lives on an everyday basis, actually. And that book, I think, is a very pertinent interruption in our everyday ways of consuming knowledge and things like that. So I feel like I would like to just ask you to share with us how did you get into this, and what is your process of translation like? Like, what are the rules you set for yourself? I'm sure you do. And how did you stay committed for all these years to translation?
Well, actually, my translation began with Nirvana, um, because it was originally a Tamil performance, and I was only performing in Chennai. And a friend of mine was having an art exhibition which was based on tea in British Council. And so she wanted me to put together um, an, a performance which would go along with tea drinking. So I chose from Madhur Jafari's book. She writes a lot of stories about drinking these English teas when she goes to this castle for that film shoot or this castle for that film shoot. So I had picked up a whole range of hers, and at the end of it, I had put together half an hour performance of reading of several stories which spoke on cooking, on making tea. I had taken one portion of Ambai's Veetin Mulayil Oru Samailare, which is a kitchen in the corner of the house where there is a character who keeps making tea. She's a 70-year-old woman. Throughout the day, she makes elaichi tea, ginger tea, regular tea, chai, and several different kinds of Gujarati chais through the day. But in the evening, she needs her arak. If her bottle of arak does not come, she will begin to throw a tantrum. So this was the character, and I had just taken one portion of her throwing the tantrum, because and where she rants about, I made you this tea, I made you that tea, and where is my arak? I had just taken that. Then now that day there was a huge storm when the performance was going on, so the audience was locked in. So at that point, Asma Menon, my artist friend for whom I was doing this, she said, "Listen, we are locked in. Why don't you do your Nirvana? Because that is you speak about cooking in that also." I said, "Okay, chalo." But I extended it for another half an hour till the rain stopped. So I went on with my Nirvana. This was being done in the British Council, and the arts director there did not expect was she was not expecting me to perform the Nirvana, but since the audience was locked because of the storm, she she had she couldn't stop the performance. But I performed in Tamil, and 1 week later, I got a phone call and a card from British Council saying the director of Edinburgh Theatre Festival is visiting Chennai. There is a lunch at the consulate. Could you please come and join us and do this piece for him? I had no clue what Edinburgh Theatre Fest was. I kind of chucked it off. And then Samira Iyengar had come home for dinner, and she looked at the card and said, "Woman, what are you doing?" "Well, I'm not going to dinner to lunch to some place, and what two men want to watch my performance. What am I going to do? That's not my job." She said, "This is Edinburgh Theatre Festival. Go, woman." So when I landed up there, Rati, who's the art director, said, "Pritam, both of them are British. Can you do it in English?" I said, "Okay, I'll do it in English." I did it in English. But there is a punchline when I do it in Tamil here, where my main character, before she goes through the Nirvanam, she's insulted by another Aravani who says, "Yeah, in the top you're Jayalalitha, but in the bottom you're still MGR." Now, how do I say this to two British men, because when I say it to any Indian, they will understand that immediately and they will immediately burst into laughing. So I had to remove that line. That was a punchline for me, and I had to remove that punchline because it had no context there. MGR and Jayalalitha have great context for us. So I just did one 10 minutes run in English. And 1 week later, I got a call saying, you're invited to perform at the Edinburgh Theatre Festival for 1 week. I called up Rati and I said, listen, I got this invitation. And she said, we don't pay. You'll have to go by yourself. So I wrote back and said, I can't afford to come to UK to perform for you. I'm very sorry. They said, no. We are inviting you for the main festival. You are part of the main festival. We are flying you in. We are going to pay you for per performance. For 7 performances, you will be getting £1,000 each. I was like, what? Chalo. I had just got my passport. It was only 1 year old. I said, okay, I'll come. I'll do the performance. And that is how I began translating. The next, this is in 2001. So next year I was going on my Fulbright to US, and I was doing my I was with the theatre and gender studies. So I was able to travel across several universities performing this and performing my other play, Mirror, also. Mirror was originally written as academic article by Chucks on Devadasi women who moved into the film field after 1934. But I had taken a small section of it and converted into a performance. It was in English, but I had started doing it in Tamil. But when I went to UK, on the spot I was translating it. So it was not a process at all at that point. Okay. Cut to 2008, we were kind of Rakesh Khanna, half Indian, half American from California, who had done his studies in IIT Madras, was married to an Indian who was my daughter's friend. And when he would go out during IIT days to the chai kada behind the IIT, he would see these 10 rupees pocket novels. He was fascinated by the graphic design of these covers, so he had a huge bunch of 10 rupee novels. So he asked me, he showed me a few and he said, can you tell me the story? And I said, okay. I just blasted off one chapter from one story. And he said, this is very interesting. Shall we come up with the whole collection of it? I said, okay. It's a long time since I had read any of these pulp stories. And my argument was, you are celebrating Chetan Bhagat and John Grisham and Dan Brown, and starting from Raymond Chandler as literature, and you're making blockbuster films of all those, and you're watching them, and it is winning Oscars, and I'm teaching client in class or Maltese Falcon as the first film noir in my classes. So why not go ahead and collect all my childhood reading? So I went to several libraries and sort of picked up as many pulp, starting from my school days and Chuck's school days. So it was Chuck who brought in Tamiruvanan, which I had not read. And coming from Agraharam, there were certain authors who I was not allowed to read. And at that time, the kind of stories which were being translated from Tamil to English were all coming out in the Katha collection. And they were really boring. I hated reading those stories. They were absolutely boring, dry, uninterestingly written. It was almost as if you're going to do something artistic, people have to be unhappy.
Have to be unhappy. If
you're having fun, it is not supposed to be art.
any artistic expression is to always be unhappy.
Yeah, I think that like you take this what was the film that won Cannes with the three women,
All we imagine.
Payal Pandey's film.
All we imagine is light.
Payal Pandey's film. Those women, don't they laugh? Don't we laugh? Does it really? I mean, you're boiled. You're ready to make your tea, and then you run out of gas, and don't you laugh at that? Don't you get angry? Don't we that's how especially women have survived because of our sense of humor. Women have the best sense of humor, and we do not remember the women comedians. Who is the woman comedian? Name one woman comedian for me in any language. It's almost as if unless I have, yes, we have been victims, but we survived the victimhood because we could laugh.
That's true.
And our humor is very, very annoying to men, especially women who laugh loud and scare me. They're terrified of it. So, no, honestly, Ekta, because for the first time I came to Bangalore Habba and I performed Nirvanam, a reporter from Times of India asked me, since when have you been doing stand-up comedy? She thought Nirvanam was stand-up comedy. Because my character was having fun. My character was not telling you a sob story. So all my characters are like that. They spit on your face. They spit, and I wanted stories which were going to do that. The second decision I had to make was, am I going to translate idli into rice cakes, dosa into pancakes, upma into porridge? I said no. When I was reading my Enid Blyton, I didn't know what a sandwich was in my Agraharam. Enid Blyton did not tell me there were 2 slices of bread spread with butter and 1 slice of cucumber slipped inside and crushed. She didn't tell me that. Why should I tell you what a rava upma is? You're interested, come to Sarana Bhavan, eat rava upma. And the second relationship was, I am not going to translate any relationship names. That is big. It was a quarrel between me and Rakesh. For you, your mother's sister, your father's sister, your next house auntie, all of them aunties. Whereas we have Chitti, Atta, Chinnamma, Periyamma, Periyappa, all those. Your Appa's Amma is Appamma, this is Ammamma.
Yeah.
These two are different grannies. Every time I'm going to say maternal grandmother, paternal grandmother, maternal grandmother, no. Party will be party, Aya will be Aya. And we do see Nada. Poda Nai. Do you say get out dog? No. Poda Nai is Poda Nai only. You have to understand that.
Yeah.
How did we understand so many of those swear words? We didn't have dictionaries. And fuck off really does not mean fuck off, no? So these were things, this was the fun of doing pulp. And then when I was doing my folk stories, India doesn't have only one ghost, no? Our ghosts are several. Pei is different from Pisasi, is different from Kateri. She is different from, there are several. We have different kind of Peis. So I decided they will all be only those. Then you come with Good Omens. If a series like Good Omens is good, are they trying to translate the Greek gods for us? No. So now go learn. Otherwise, I'll have to be doing what A.K. Ramanujam did. He was doing an academic job and he was supported by Columbia University. I am doing a job to earn my money. So I had these were my politics. So my chitti will remain chitti, my upma will remain upma, poda is poda, ennadi will be in ennadi only. Because that is Tamil. I am not going to remove the flavor of Tamil from there. So those were important decisions I made. And that made my translation fun. So all my performances, I either write in English or Tamil, I just make it up in my head. When I was doing performance on cancer survivors, I spoke with cancer survivors, and then I wrote my script called Happy Birthday, and it was for it was done for an NGO on breast cancer, survival of breast cancer, and that's when the that's when I was doing my research, I was told do not talk about cervical cancer. I said why? They said cervical cancer is actually caused by an infected man. Otherwise, women will not get cervical cancer. So let us not talk about that. So there was a no for me when I was doing my research. It is not that develops some on on the woman's body by itself, but it is donated by the sexual partner. So the breast cancer was for a different mission. Domestic violence, again, I spoke with survivors. I developed a script. My audience was English. My audience was Tamil. It was being done in textile factories. It was being done in Lions Club meetings. It was being done on several kind of places where women work. So depending on Lions Club or textile factory, depending on my audience, I either did it in English or in Tamil. When I was doing child sexual abuse, I did not want to talk to any of the survivors. I took my own story. But I did my own experience, but I converted it into a performance script. Just completely different. And when I was doing Taming of Women, that was the toughest one because first Anandai called me up. After Penguin asked me and they gave me the contract to do it, Anandai called me up and she wanted to make sure that I was a woman over 50 because she wanted an experienced woman to do it. She did not want some 20-year-old whose English is good to do the translation. So when she actually saw my face, she was so satisfied. She said, yeah, you do it. And it was tough for me emotionally, but it was again successful women at the end of it. They go through torture, but they come out winning. And that's what was important to me. Presently, I'm doing 4, they're all here on my table. One is Chuck's articles on Tamil cinema, which I'm translating for Michigan University. One is a collection of sexual abuses told, spoken, without their names, men, women, and trans. This is edited by Nivedita Lewis, and I'm translating that. Then I'm translating the first ever social novel written by a woman in Tamil, which is called Kamalavalli Alladu Dr. Rajashekhar. And this was written by T.P. Rajalakshmi. T.P. Rajalakshmi is the first silent cinema heroine and first sound cinema heroine and first women director. She directed this film by herself in 1939. The film copy is not available, but unfortunately in 1984, Bhagyaraj, another film director, took the same plot but did not have the guts to do what he changed the end.
Mm.
So I'm going to do this and then write a paper which is on comparing what Bhagiraj was too scared of doing, but Kamalavali was able to do in 1931. The fourth book I'm translating is Aryamalai by Annadurai, because many of Periyar's work have been translated, Karunanidhi's works have been translated, but not many Annadurai's work. So this is I'm beginning with Aryamalai. That's the story.
That's the story. Wow. I think you already answered several of my questions with that, and I Adu did. But I guess listening to both of you, something that's coming to my mind is that I guess I want to understand then what is language for you both, right? Because on the one hand, it's not just like translating text, it's extending into performance. Sometimes it's extending into an academic paper where you've already done translations before. You're like, I know what that really means. You're also reading books in Tamil or Kannada, and you're translating only one book, but you have the knowledge of what's happening in that language world. So I'm just trying to understand how you process language and how does it feed into the different kinds of work that you both do, whether it's performance, whether it's Dadu is also a poet. So sometimes do some of these ideas also from translation render something in poetry, in short story writing. Likewise for you, Pritam, like does it, like you anyway do this? It's like you're translating the text and there are already several stories being born in thousand different directions. So everything has, I think every act of translation hearing has is lending to another form also in different forms of artistic practice that both of you do. So, do you want to talk a little bit about what language then really means to you? Pritam, you want to go first, and then I
Yeah,
want to.
sure, sure. See, until we did Pulp, the only translated works were, of course, Katha's dry translation,
Pritam, move.
and sorry, Katha's dry translation, and two people who translated their own books. One was Sujata, the other was Ashok Mitran. Both of them, and Ambai. Ambai, of course, translated her own. So there were only three. Then in 98, Kalki's Ponniyin Selvan is made public. Now there are about 5 translations of it.
Mm.
Okay, and after the film, 4 have come. So you can imagine. But unfortunately, like let's take One Part Woman, which Anirudh did. What is his name? Anirudh. What Vasudev is he? Adrat. No, Machi. No. I'm forgetting. One Part Woman is by Perumal Murugan.
Correct.
He wrote Madhurabhagam in the 90s. Until it got translated in 2010 and became a controversy, nobody knew who Perumal Murugan was.
Mm.
He was a school teacher in one provincial town. Suddenly he's being translated in Belgium and in Dutch and Swedish and all kinds of languages. So that I didn't want. And I didn't want something that is going to, in fact, when I was doing Pulp, it was difficult to make these authors understand. They would rather be called popular, not pulp, because even in their head, it was not pulp. So I had to, tell them good cinema like Maltese Falcon was written by Raymond Chandler. You must know that Raymond Chandler wrote stories like us. Of course he did. Dan Brown is still writing stories like you. And commercial cinema is feeding off you.
Mm.
Today, many in the pulp, like Shubha, Rajesh Kumar, are all writing for commercial cinema. After Pulp, after I did the Pulp, all these authors have now been absorbed by the commercial cinema. But they were producing like popcorn machines, month after month after month.
Yeah,
And it is very difficult because this sani paper in which they are writing it, the book is only this large. Because they're pocket novels, right? Only this big. And as they fold, the book should be only 94 pages. So they had to write the story. Well, they had to finish the story in 94 pages. So sometimes character will come, they will disappear halfway through because they would have forgotten. Especially when they were writing series, they would have completely forgotten that they brought some character and that character did something dramatic 2 months back, and that character is forgotten because he's right now busy writing the next week's chapter. They had no time to keep track of all this.
And these books are coming out every month.
Every month. You go to any bus stand, you will still see them.
Yeah.
And then we discovered there are Gujarati pulp novel, there are Marathi pulp novel, Bengali pulp novel, Odia.
Yeah.
And they are fun stories. They are not meant for you to keep it for posterity. They're not Ponniyin Selvan. You know, you're supposed to forget it. That is what Chetan Bhagat is, right? You buy it in an airport, where you finish the book by the time you come to Chennai, and you leave it in the seat and come. Though Chetan Bhagat would like to think that he is writing literature, but then let's be honest, nobody sets out to write literature. It's time that is going to say whether what you wrote is literature or not. I can't claim that I wrote literature.
Yeah.
How can I claim? It has to stand the test of time.
Yeah, it has to stand it. Yeah.
Right? Your Pushpa might be a hit now. Or no, Kantara. What is the last film? Kantara. Oh. Kantara might be a hit film now. 20 years later, are you going to remember it as what you remembered Sholay?
No. No chance.
That is why that is a classic and this will never be a classic. But today you can remake Sholay, but then Thakur will not be a hero. Amjad Khan will be a hero.
Yeah. So in that sense, you're saying that translation gives you a sense of freedom to also not get caught in this work that lives on forever. It has a fluidity. It's no need to get caught up in this kind of work for posterity. So it gives you the freedom to keep moving.
Exactly. See, let us be very honest. Shakespeare was writing for the crowd. That is when his Merchant of Venice and Midsummer Night's Dream, all these stories were being written for the crowd. It's only when the monarchy adopts him that he begins writing about the kings.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Your Richard III and Hamlet is coming much later. Look at his comedies. It was being written for the gallery.
Yeah.
Sherlock Holmes was coming out as a weekly story.
Yeah. Yeah. So now we hear Dadu on his take on language.
Yeah.
So before I answer Ekta's question, thanks Pritam for making the formula so simple. Because I did my math PG in mathematics, so even I believe that we should make the formula so simple so that it will be inviting so many young or old or the first time translator to translate. So So when you were talking, so one word you told on spot translation was happening. It is so nice. So then I was thinking ki like, so if we go behind the stories, we go behind the search, if we go behind the people, if we go on a journey, basically, even in your translation note, which is there in your blog, even the way you took a journey behind this Pulp Fiction translation, you go and you find people. So I think somewhere, so these things also, lead or guide us in the translation. So even I was so reflecting back when Vasudendra sir asked, "Can you translate?" Okay, I wanna learn or good English. Maybe sometimes translation also makes our writing better, makes our language better, makes our play better, makes our poetry better because we go so near to the language, right? So even I think, oh, okay, I'll do it. Let's see what it is. I think when you're talking, I think it's so um, uh, like how translation shift the gauge, shift the challenge the dominant discourse as which is there in the concept note of this talk. So even how pop culture could challenge critic so-called aesthetics frameworks set by upper class, uh, you know, elite thing. So in that way, it was so I could connect to it. So these things also I used to feel like when I started devising also I didn't know what is devising, what is theater, and so just okay. So taking it what it is. The one happy moment is like, of course, however we start, aesthetics will come. It will become artistic. Uh, that is so there. One wow moment is like, I also don't know something. It is not happening. Script also it's not there. I don't know what is not working. But after a few days, it'll fall in place. I don't know. Oh, it is working now. So that moment, I always wait for, even in theater, even in writing, even in thing. Sometimes which makes me happy. Which uh, uh, I think for this reason only I pursue writing and translation. So unknown becomes known. Not said becomes said. The journey of things is very beautiful. Thanks for making that, telling in a very fun way, which is so inviting. Okay, yaro, nale. Oh, I also can become translator. I'll start. That's a
Yeah, it was so fun. Even that, because I work with my granddaughter, I I
anyone who's
I
watching this.
I that's how she learned Tamil and English. So I would tell her a story, and I'll ask her to tell it back to me in English. Then, or I'll tell a story in Tamil, in English, and I'll ask her to tell it to me in Tamil. So it became easier for her to tell me the same story, but in a different language. But then she will add details to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
That
also,
that was fun to watch because no story. Because when I'm telling you a story, it's going to be a different story. But when I'm going to tell it to my daughters, it'll be a different story. It'll be the same story,
yeah,
but some shade will change, no, depending on your audience. Like my MGR and Jayalalitha, which had to be dropped, for instance.
yeah,
When I did it in Habba, audience burst out laughing. Of course, this time, let's forget the Times of India reporter. The audience laughed. Audience who knew MGR and Jayalalitha understood what I was saying.
Hmm.
You have to know these two people, no?
Yeah.
If you don't know these two people, you won't know what I'm talking about on my body.
Yeah.
And in fact, this present performance which I developed for Mara came because I saw this horrible poster when I had to go for my checkup last time to Malar Hospital. And they had put up a poster saying, if you are over 60, and then it had one series of alphabets A, B, C, D. Look for arthritis, look for blood pressure, look for cholesterol, look for diabetes. I said, fuck it. I am over 60. I am going to teach you the right ABCD. Not arthritis and blood pressure and cholesterol. But this is going to be completely different. Written by a woman and fun. So that is why Amazingly Bitch ABC.
That's the name of the
That is
performance.
what gave me the idea for the script.
Thanks, Pritam. So I'll try to answer your question. So as I told, I'm from a mathematics background. When I started writing, I didn't know what I was writing. I don't know whether it is a poem or not, because we want somebody to tell, oh, it's a
is
poem,
poem.
it's a story, it's a thing. Uh, so I just found out that, say, in text, in writing, everything manifests in terms of text. So even when we say language, then is it language only a words, only a sentences, only a talk we do? Uh, then I think the key is like, so language also contains silences, also contains pauses, also in this very human. Uh, uh, Communication is so complex. I think in Lanke's play, I'm unable to recall the name of the play. So he writes it. So the king says, uh, I asked for a cat, but this Indian kings sent me a woman. So I think that's a beauty, because we say something, but the meaning is something. I think uh, that is where the beauty of language lies in, to catch it, and how to catch it. Sometimes some people can take a formal training. Some people can go behind the search which you recommend. Sometimes I believe like it is halfway through. Halfway we should put effort. Halfway it is also come to us. I think that is the key, even for poetry and play and even translation.
Okay.
Yeah, see, basically, we're all storytellers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whether I'm telling you your story or my story, basically a storyteller.
Yeah.
So even when I translate, I do it just like that.
Yeah.
In the sense that I'm telling another person's story, but in a different language. That's all.
Hmm. Yeah. Mine just have one or two questions, but this one I really was very curious about, because I think also now living in this climate of linguistic chauvinism, right? Like it's like Kannada gottilla andre aache hogu. Suddenly it started to happen a lot in Bangalore. You already know how it is in Chennai. We know how it is in Chennai, Kerala, especially the southern Indian states, and also the influx of migrants into these different places, what it's creating as a phenomenon right now in cities. So I see where so I'm the question is like, do you see the role of translation in a climate of linguistic chauvinism where people are insisting on knowing a language to live and work in a place? Like you have to know Kannada to work here or live here. Uh, yeah, so or accepting the supremacy of state language. Like if you don't know Kannada, or if you don't know this language, if you don't know Hindi, you're not an Indian or whatever. How do you, what is your response to this? Like, where it is necessary to know the native language of a given place in order to live, work, do stuff, because you all have translated. Or yeah, you can respond to that in however way, whichever way
I
you want.
think yes. When I was in Hyderabad, I didn't mind speaking Hindi because people do speak Hindi there also.
Yeah.
All of them speak Hindi also, so I was comfortable speaking, but I encourage the students who could not speak Hindi or English to speak in Telugu to me so that I will understand Telugu better. Okay, so but here in Sarana Bhavan, if my waiter expects me to say "do plate idli," I will not.
Hmm. Yeah.
It is his job to learn Tamil. If he wants to work in Sarana Bhavan, he should know Tamil. It's not my job. I don't speak to my Uber drivers. I don't speak to my. If anyone calls me and speaks to me in Hindi, I will say, please speak in. I don't know Hindi. Speak to me in English or Tamil. If you're working in central government, they are insisting that you learn Hindi. I'm not working in central government. I'm not working for any government. I'm paying my tax. I'm casting my vote. That's all I need to do. I don't have to learn. I have my Aadhaar card. I have my PAN card. More than that, I have to know Hindi. Why? Duolingo teaches me Greek, Korean, and it's fun and no money.
Does it interfere?
Duolingo in Indian language is only teaching Hindi. It's not teaching Kannada. It's not teaching Tamil. Why is that?
But do you feel that if you have these kind of specific, I mean, you're very clear about the point you just made, like, does it affect your, like people approaching you for like writing commissions, translation commissions, or they just, how do they perceive you in this world?
That's a dangerous person. No, well, after Psycho, you can imagine the kind of roles I got.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, because I know cinema as a subject, if they ask me to do something silly, then I ask questions, and that irritates the director because he'd like to think all directors today want to. They call themselves, Tamil Nadu, Tarantino, that kind. So there was one role I was supposed to do, and where I'm playing a French woman, and they're sitting, and people are walking around with smoke pots. It's supposed to be Ooty. I said, why am I French and why am I in Ooty? I said, it's a period film. Madam. Okay, right, but why am I French in Ooty? Because the French have captured Ooty. They never did. It was always the British capital, British summer capital. You can't change history only because you want a woman. So when you ask questions like this, they get scared with the person like me.
So do they continue working with you, or oh God?
They changed it to some other hill town. Some anonymous hill town.
So you're saying even so, in a way of looking at cities becoming cosmopolitan, and also because of what controls the of a city, like you would still say that one needs to know the language that is spoken.
If I'm going to live in Bangalore, then I
Yeah.
will make it my job to learn Kannada, which is what Malvika did. I don't expect the Bajiwala there to understand Tamil or know English. I do understand English is still only a cultural capital.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to live, that is why when I was 10 years in Hyderabad, my Telugu is pretty good.
Yeah.
If I'm living in Bangalore, and I would think that should be a part of my duty. It should not be anybody else's job to learn something for my sake. If I'm going to live there and make my living off that place, then it's my business to learn.
And Dadu, what do you think?
Of course, this linguistic term is bad. The word itself is so difficult to pronounce. So I feel something I so this using language to insult or in any which way, using language to assault women, using language to assault or humiliate any kind of Dalits and whatever, it's there. Even it's not even language, even in a language. So though I speak Kannada, they say your Kannada is not good. ನಿಮಗೆ you don't speak a proper Kannada. See, your tone is Muslim Kannada. ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ ಆ ಥರ ಇದೆ. So I think it's there from time. I think it's definitely bad. But my take is like, so you also asked the question about language, right? So I think we get a pulse of people through language. Say, for example, in Kannada, we don't introduce, say in English, they say, "Oh, he's my partner, he's my something, she's my partner." But in Kannada, we have a word, oh, Yunan Hudga. Uh, so I think it has a history, it has one cultural legacy. So I think if we don't learn a language, so we'll miss out on that. Uh, and I think the question you're asking is bit difficult for me because it is as a native Kannada speaker. Say if I go to Mumbai, I think it's so beautiful to learn that language because I feel if I learn the language only, I can enter the psyche of the space of those people because language holds that. So I think we can perceive in this way, and say city, in any city has a lot of languages. So sometimes I wonder what is the language of a city. See, if I wanna write one story, keeping all the nuance of the city, say in this space only there are so many language speakers, then how that story would look like. So does it become a full out and out Kannada story, or so what story it becomes? And so I, I I wonder translation could become one language. So if translation could become one language, what is the common thing which holds that? Say if English, there also it is a problem, no? Then translate madak one language, the common gotirbeko. So if, then should he choose English or what? If even if he chooses English, why? I think we can ponder on these questions.
Yeah. I do see two hands in the audience. I mean, I do have one more question, but I'm going to let Rumi and Ram ask the questions and then go to more discussion. Rumi, you could.
Yeah,
Pritam will be able to hear Rumi, no?
I have to for both Pritam and Dadu. Um, I have a question for both Pritam and Dadu regarding two issues. Okay, we can see them. No, no.
No, I want her to see them.
No, that's okay.
That's okay. One is that I really don't understand language feminism so much when it comes to living in a city and talking to waiters or whoever, but I have a question about something else. The kind of domination that English does when it comes to certain discourses. I mean, I have faced this because I used to translate a lot of leaflets for different social justice movements, and I used to face heavy criticism for using English words for the lack of that discourse. So certain words really are created in English in such a way that uh, they do not have a discourse developed in the regional language, Kannada or Hindi, and then we are asked to translate that, which should be the expectation is that which should be read by common people, especially in the leaflets because that is something that goes to the people.
Yeah.
On the roads. And I've seen how, as a translator of several leaflets, I've seen how the leaflets are torn by people and thrown on the streets. It doesn't, so there is a political language in each regional language. If you don't use that political language to translate or to talk about a certain social justice issue, whether it's Kannada, Tamil, Telugu, whatever, then we're thrown out. We're not even included in the circles of activists. And there is an expectation, I actually face this, there is an expectation by the English language, I don't know if it is academics or activists, that we should translate words like trajectories of feminist histories to women who would have probably attended that seminar for the first time. Now, I hate it when people just vomit English in leaflets. And I cannot I feel it's like I want to like kill them. Why can't they produce something? Because you know the language, right? You know some regional language. So why can't you just put it in a mixed language? People will read that. You can, I don't know, I mean, this kind of translation is something that is never addressed, whether it is like, even if it means academic, who will read it? I mean, if you are expecting something like a sex worker or a trans woman to read it, who might be literate or not, and who might be able to read or not, even if you read out the leaflet to them, how much will they understand with the kind of heavy, uh, this political, so-called political, Kannada, political. So sometimes I feel that it's such a waste of knowledge production. And I really want a revolution to happen in that context. So I want to know your views on that. My second question is something else actually.
Let him respond to this. Or you want to ask specifically?
Yeah, it's just a small question. Uh, so when you talk about translations, do you also translate emotions and feelings? Like it could be something from a song, it could be something from music, it could be something from uh, a feeling or expression that you, when you see a play or when you read a poem, can you also think of translating those kind of expressions? That's
Pritam, you heard both of them.
I know I didn't get the questions.
Oh shit. Okay.
No, I can't understand what the question is. I can understand. There was a lot of opinion, but the
Okay, I can.
question. What is the question?
The first question was in relation to translating specifically pamphlets, leaflets, literature, which have to reach wider audiences, especially in the context of social movements. So when big words are used in English, like trajectories of feminist history, etc., how do we overcome, or how do you all look at this thing of having this political correctness of the language being used, and then not also having the words in that language? And even if you have those words, do the people who are reading it even understand it? Because a lot of people who these pamphlets and all go to, they don't really relate to this language. So what Rumi was saying is that there is also it's a waste of knowledge production. And what are your views on that translation of political?
Absolutely, because it is arrogant for us to have a title like that and assume it is going for for a democratic audience. You are
Yeah.
yourself putting you yourself in this niche, and you're saying that my audience is going to understand this. Unless if you open it out and rethink that, what are you actually meaning by that? When you say trajectories of feminism, what do you mean by it?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it was yeah. You want to respond to that? Then I'll ask the next question then.
Yeah. I think Rumi, ತುಂಬಾ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಇದೆ ಈ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ say I think you're also asking some questions about knowledge production, right? So see, while translating, if the discourse is not, it's already there in the Kannada, for example, then we can retain the same words. So same rule for the queer language also. So queer terminology also. But sometimes, having said that, I also get a question that, so can't we coin new words in Kannada? So, which is related to, say, translating queer terminologies and all. So, what happens to language? So, should we really become over possessed with language? Of course, language would take its own course, because language, the nature of language is that. And somewhere, one more challenge which I want to I want to challenge you, that sometimes location also matters, no? Because suppose I'm a Kannada medium student. Okay, so I might have got exposed to more of Kannada words, right? So what if it is in doing ulta? Even in activism legacy, in Kannada activism legacy, we have a term called Dalit Sangarsh Samiti. Okay, uh, if if the translation is happening in a reverse way from Kannada to English, the English people also can feel the same way. So I think we can stay with this question and probably arrive at something whenever it happens. I think it's if it's a question about activism, then answer would change. If it's a question about secular terminology, the answer and approach would change. And to answer your next question,
Just repeat the question so Pritam
yeah.
knows the second.
So to keep it simple, how to translate? How to
Yeah.
translate is the question.
Do
How
you
to,
know? Do you?
How to express?
No, no. The question is, do you translate emotions and feelings also when you are looking at translating a play? For example, if you experienced a play, then would you translate emotions and feelings along with the text? Pritam, you wanna-
Yeah, as a performer, of course you have to. Of course. If it's part of the text, it has to be. How can you remove emotions? Then it is not a human story. It is the emotional journey that you're following, right? In any story. Even if it is an adventure or a horror story, it is that emotion.
Yeah.
Just packing one horror scene after another horror scene is not a story.
But did you
It is
mean like
what is the character going through the emotion.
I think his question is about how to express emotion and so how do you write emotion and feeling? But if it is about writing, it's a simple trick of don't say but show. If I say uh, he felt sad, then there is no text in that. But how he felt sad, then I think that is the key. But translation, of course, we cannot rule out what the writer has.
While
okay?
translating, if the original author has said he was sad, oh, then it will. I have to keep with what he has said. But why he was sad, it would be following in the story, no?
Yeah.
He was sad is not the story. It is only
True.
one sentence in the story.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Ram. You wanna ask a question?
Yeah, I'm interested in the health of regional language leadership. Like globally, it's becoming very clear that English readership is on the decline. Publishing is on the decline. Attention is on the decline. So I'm wondering what both of you have to say about the health of Tamil readership and Kannada readership. Is it growing? Is it stagnating? Is it in decline? Um,
Same
because
question.
I mean, I don't think one can extend the health of English readership to regional languages. So, what is your sense of the reading culture and the health of readership in these languages?
I mean, just to add to what Ram is saying, like that was my next question, which is that regional language translated to English, but what about regional language to regional language also? And English leadership clearly receives more translations in literature. So, what is the role of English language as a mediating language, which you kind of addressed, but the readership question in Tamil, readership question in Kannada, and our works also going back there, and are people reading? Pritam, you want to answer?
Tamil readership is very large, very deep and very large. We still have lending libraries. We love books. So there will be always be authors. There is also a whole range of Latin American translation into Tamil, French translation into still being done by major publications like Kriya, Dilip. You mentioned about Dilip Kumar. So, and Kala Chuvade, all these people are bringing a whole range of world literature into Tamil also. So it has always been done, not just now. Right from 30s, we've been translating world literature.
Ram is frowning. He wants to disbelieve this is true.
No,
But
no, no, no.
how can it be possible that Tamil is going? Isn't English the dominant language?
No,
Sorry.
Tamil audience are really. Actually, you should read this book.
Yeah.
It is. It's it's called Yellow Face by Rebecca Kwong. It's about an American woman who happens upon a dead Chinese writer who's just scribbled out some notes for her next novel. She picks up that and writes it out uh, as her novel after death. And the kind of justification she has to do to say, I this experience is mine.
Oh, wow. I haven't heard of this book. Okay, awesome.
It was
Bangalore,
it,
to copy.
it's well, when I come to Bangalore, I'll bring the book
Yeah, we'll go
with.
through.
It's because it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Some of the I have been off late only reading a lot of South Asian uh, thankfully it's being translated. The whole range is being translated now in English, especially Japanese, Korean, Malaysian, African. I've been reading bunch of these books. Like so, the past 2 years has been only these literature. I haven't
So
actually read the West literature.
the minute it reaches a person like you are happy to put it back into the Tamil world. Can
Yeah, yeah. I've read. In fact, there was one Irish novel which I'm trying to, which I actually when I met the author in in the Hindu Fest, I took his permission to translate his story into Tamil, Temptations of Mary, so which is about both Virgin Mary and Mary Magdalene's conversation. Which I have his permission, but if I find a publisher, I will definitely put
wow.
the book together. Because at least I want to perform it, because I
In,
think that's just the idea that Virgin Mary and Mary
yeah.
Magdalene sitting down and talking
Yeah.
is itself so interesting, and it's
Yep.
called Temptations of Mary.
Temptations of Mary.
So I
Perform.
have been in touch with him. So I want to write it in Tamil. So I think it will be a very good journey for myself also, having this very convent educated, um, having my Bible study classes, how I'm going
Yes.
to approach it. So when I
Dadu, what
do
about
have the time, I'll do it. But one thing, while we are talking about all these chauvinism, I would rather have this chauvinism than this pan-Indian cinema that we have gone into.
okay.
That is like a tadka of one scene for Amir Khan, one scene for Shivraj Kumar, one scene for one Telugu actor, one scene. These actors have traveled across languages for ages. Kamal Hassan has done Kada films much before he became famous in Tamil. His Kokila was the first Kannada film, which made him famous.
What's your disagreement?
Ram is profusely disagreeing with you, and he's put the pen on his mustache. So at least
Yeah.
put the predicament and we can continue the conversation on chauvinism. Yeah. The response to Ram's question.
In my observation in Kannada, when Coimbu was writing, when I am writing, when Next Generation is also writing, the number of copies per publication is only 1,000 copies. Compared to the population of Karnataka, it is very minimal. And the amount, say even in terms of royalty, even for a publisher, how much money they make is really, in that way, it is already, we push this literature into service sector, even publishing into service sector. Number one. Number two is like, say, number of Kannada medium schools, the government only is happily or very logically, so it is shutting down. Sometimes even I get scared that, where are my readers? At least my next generation readers ಎಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ. And also I've been observing people telling, I don't know to read and write Kannada, but I only speak Kannada.
Yeah.
So I think this is a result of shutting down say Kannada medium or teaching only one language. Of course, the reasons could be different because Kannada has, even the state has not viewed Kannada, the local or regional language, as a language of say working language. So ಅನ್ನದ ಭಾಷೆ ಆಗಿ ನೋಡ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. It didn't create any uh, uh, what avenues or things to do. That is one more thing. And um so maybe I feel like as one time I was arguing with my friend from this perspective only. Oh, what happens to language? Oh, if we keep all English words only as it is, okay, what happens to the Kannada words and all? So he said language will take its own course. Likewise, readership or so text to reading could also can take a other shape. Nowadays I've been seeing our all Gen Z, even millennial generation, they are so fascinated towards podcast. And for me, I never think of making a decision of I have to see podcast. Maybe I'm very much okay with YouTube. So that is also kuti things where I'm feeling I'm getting a sense that this health of regional language leadership is declining day by day
in Karnataka.
in Karnataka for sure. And also one good thing is like there are many writers are there, so all are expressing. So it's not like only a few people are writing, many people are reading. But now I assume or I feel maybe I'll in between that. Um, the the readers are less. It could be because of a maximum options. So every day one music album will come every day because a lot of options. As you only pointed out, the attention span is also less. So reading requires a lot of some patience and time to it, like dedication also and plan also. In that way, readership is so 1,000 copy also. Now 2 years if 1,000 copies get sold out is a big achievement. And now publishers have reduced to printing only 500 copies or print on demand. So in that way, it's declining. But maybe who knows? Tomorrow, the text only it is between writers and publishers, and they might look forward to the other way of expressing.
Pritam, do you want to say more?
Yeah, because Tamil publishing world is one of the largest publishing world. You come to any book exhibition, they have rows of Tamil books. And all kinds of books are there.
Yeah.
And you must see the crowd in book exhibitions.
Even now,
it's
you're
very
saying.
huge. Even now. Every year. And we don't have only in Chennai. We have a book exhibition which goes on in Coimbatore, Madurai, Tanjavur, Tirunelveli. About 10 or 12 exhibitions. Everything lasting for 1 week. Full crowd. When we put up our stall, we actually, the Tamil pulp fiction, when we were writing, and the cover is actually, remember Savita Babi?
I know this.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it is Savita Babi with Mallipu and a golden chain. So
Correct.
we actually took a Punjabi woman. And when Malvika designed the cover, she came up with exactly the kind of pulpish cover for it. So it jumped out. But we were still very scared. We brought out only 5,000 copies.
But
It sold out in the weekend.
I know this means.
In just Friday, we put it on the stall. By Monday, we were sold out.
5,000 copies.
We were terrified when we did that because Rakesh was putting his own money.
Yeah. Did you have to reprint it?
Kept reprinting. Now only Kindle is available because she stopped. For the pulp fiction, only the Kindle. But we still love making books.
Yeah.
After still making zines and all kind of, because there is still love for making books and
Yeah.
reading books. And I think this whole readership is an atmosphere, Ekta. If in your home you're surrounded by books,
Mm.
then you are going to read,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Not everything you are satisfied. Like people who have read Ponniyin Selvan completely, uh, and when Magic Lantern did it as a play in 1994, people used to stand outside. They were sold out. They performed for 1 week at Bucks Theatre in YMCA. They were sold out completely, but these people still stood outside and they could actually, you know, recite dialogues.
Yeah.
And Ponniyin Selvan was written in the 50s. It was a classic with my mother, my grandmother, me, and only after Maniratnam made it into a film, it gets 20,000 translations,
Yep.
which hardly covered the novel.
Hmm.
Anyway, it was fully dark. You could hardly see anything.
So, Ram, would you like to state your, not whatever, point of contention, if we can call it that?
How
The show.
Pritam prefers the chauvinism of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking, when it comes to cities, I think cities are not really places. They're special economic zones, and they're capital magnets. They attract capital. For that reason, they are necessarily cosmopolitan. They draw in like people who are looking for wages where there is no like capital available. So that's why you have huge migrant population. That's why not just today, not just Bangalore. Like Bangalore, if you see like even garment work, decades earlier was like many migrants. So it's very difficult to establish a kind of an original culture in a city. The whole idea of the city keeps adapting to suit the needs of capital. So in a urban space, I would say that the structural need is for cosmopolitan cultures. Whereas where places where modernity is not really fully penetrated, I would agree that there is an onus to learn the language because it's linked to place, time, and the sense of rhythms of day and night and so on. But in cities, it's very hard to make the same, at least from my perspective.
Yeah, but I guess cities were never cities, right? They also became cities. So you're saying in the current state, it has just become like a, yeah.
No, it's not just
It's
became organically. All governments
Yeah,
have
it's a site.
put their fortunes on city development, urban
Yeah.
development.
Yeah.
There's no economic plan for rural. Everything hinges on the urban.
Complicated.
So if there
Like,
is a yes.
Ram's finished?
No.
Yeah.
No, finish your point.
That's,
Finish.
Finish it.
I'm saying if there is a culture of like localism in cities, that will spell disaster for the economic idea of the city.
Okay. Pritam.
I agree with Ram that because that is how a metropolis is built. I mean, whichever the metropolis is. But if New York can understand the Italian culture versus the Irish culture versus his Harlem culture, why is it so difficult for us to understand it here? All the four English is different there.
It's true.
The English in Harlem is very different from Manhattan.
Yeah.
But if we can understand that code, for instance, Dilip Kumar, whom Dadu was talking about, he is a Gujarati who grew up in Saukarpet but studied in Tamil medium and writes only Tamil medium and runs a Tamil bookshop. Is married to a Tamil woman. But when he goes back to Saukarpet, he speaks only Gujarati because his Nani will not understand him.
Then you want to interact with it.
Because Saukarpet is only Gujaratis. And they're all pre-colonial settlers.
Yeah.
It is the recent migration which is the problem. See, it was not as if the migration never happened at all. No, in 60s is when the huge governmental transfers happened. That is where your Andheri and Matunga is major Brahmin populated parts of Bombay.
Correct.
If you go to, there is a Tamil Sangam in Bombay, there is a Tamil Sangam in Delhi. All central government employees. You have the Mahalakshmi Sabha in Bombay, which only stages Tamil dramas. So wherever these Tamils go, will immediately plant a Vepamaram and begin their Tamil association.
Yeah.
They don't care whether it is Bombay or California, it's the same for them. Build one Tirupati temple and plant one Vepamaram. Your Adi festival is taken care of, your Tirupati is taken care of. And your Bharatanatyam classes will happen. Pakka.
Icing on the cake. Yeah, that you want to respond or like we move on? There's, I think, hi Sam. It's nice to hear. Samrat is also our very old friend. He says, "Hello from Valencia. I'm so glad." He has a question to
Yeah.
Ram's line of thought. Can local and existing literature, written word, etc., make trouble, as in be rebellious, hack the existing dominant myths? You can see the question, right?
I can't see the question.
Okay,
No.
I'll repeat it. I'll repeat it, Pritam. Can local and existing literature, written word, etc., make trouble, as in be rebellious, or hack the existing dominant myths?
See, there are some things which is very difficult to translate. Okay. For instance, in Tamil, if you're this happens with the socially underprivileged classes, where one of the scolding word to you would be மவுத்தில் இருக்கிற மஞ்சா தண்ணியை உருவி எடுத்துருவேன், which would actually mean I will remove the bile from your stomach. Okay. When you actually say, or poda மயிறு புடுங்கி, poda மயிறு புடுங்கி doesn't mean pluck. It's not this hair, but my vaginal hair.
Yes.
Can I translate that as poda pubic hair? Will it make any sense?
No. Yeah.
This is a local language.
Correct.
So you, in fact, if you watch Big Boss, you will say, I don't care M for you. That is how they have translated it now. I don't care M for you. I don't.
Oh,
So you just show this hair.
Oh God. So yeah. That's funny.
Okay.
What do you want to say about this question?
It's a tough question. I'll pass it.
Yeah. That I think Dadu is already translating quite a lot of rebellion texts, I feel. Not rebellion. I think so. Both of you have done that. In the sense, it's
Yeah,
not.
but then see, Ekta, now Yarini is at a stage where she is completely understanding they, them, us pronouns. Okay, she is not yet decided on her pronoun. So she now I will have to develop a vocabulary to talk with her in Tamil, because there is nothing existing now.
Yaini is Pritam's granddaughter.
Yeah.
You understand that?
Yeah.
When if Yarini wants to be called they, I will have to coin a word for it in Tamil and make my extended family understand why she wants to be called they and not her.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Because that is a new culture. And like
Yeah.
she says, she is Gen Zalpha, and therefore cannot understand her language. She actually told me that. So when I was watching Adolescence, she was the one who was explaining many of the terms in that series.
The young
She's
girl.
10-year-old. She's 10-year-old.
Sure.
I didn't know what cis was. I didn't know what cell was.
Yeah.
So these are all, language will constantly keep evolving, and it will happen to all languages.
Yeah.
I just have
Dadu had
one
something.
response to that question. I think for most of local thing, local is global in that way. For those who are writing in regional language or sharing, uh, writing about their culture and all those things, I think this these words of local language, vernacular language, I think it's a very uh, it's a trap in that way. And rebellious, I think the writers in any regional language, any local language, are writing their lives, writing their experiences, all those. I think it's the interpretations that makes rebellious or not.
Yeah.
And it's a very interesting thing that how, though we are telling local stories, how see in this context only we are opposing Hindi domination, that domination. But having said that, we also welcome so many things, dominant narratives in local narratives, local way of living.
Yeah.
I think I think which resonates with what Ram was saying, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is something that can kind of go on, but maybe I thought we could just make a very nice closure to this. If you could share maybe a myth or a story in a language that you read that you can translate for us in in your own like a short little story as a closure, so we all have a story translated by you live. Real or short story karo, or a puzzle or a riddle or a poem or anything which you wrote or someone else wrote, just to close it, like something
Yeah, sure. Okay,
full
let
of.
me tell you. Okay,
Yes.
this is a poem written in the 70s by a poet called Vikramadityan. I'll first say it in Tamil and then translate it for you. லாட்டரியில் பணம் விழுந்ததால் ஒரு சைக்கிள் வாங்கினேன். மிதிக்க கடினம் என்றதால் ஸ்கூட்டர் வாங்கினேன். உதைக்க கடினம் என்றதால் கார் வாங்கினேன். ஓட்ட கடினம் என்றதால் ஓட்டுநர் வைத்தேன். இப்பொழுது நடக்கிறேன் உடல் பெருத்ததால் கடற்கரையில். I won a little bit of money in the lottery. I got myself a second-hand cycle. Because it was tough to pedal, I got a scooter. Because it was tough to kick, I bought a car. Because it was tough to drive, I got myself a driver. And now I walk again because I put on too much weight on the Marina Beach.
Whoa. That's so much fun. Would you like to do a?
Recently, we were interviewing Shakila for our MHI project of reconstructing mythologies for Koti, Maladi, and Azain female at birth and other entities. So Shakila told me one very interesting thing, how which is I felt so fascinating, is that how they created a myth around Marladi community. So Marladi communities are worshippers of Devi. We find in Devi temples and all. So they built one character called Pavadaraya. So Pavadaraya, so Parvati says to Shiva, I want Pavadaraya to take care of me, to dress me, to do a makeup and all the thing. The reason she gave is very interesting. I think there it created a space for the whole Marladi community in Devi temples. So she says to Shiva that I want the one which is having effeminate behavior to worship me and take care of me. Only those person understand me. I think there is a very cleverly establishes the security, religious culture, and space. It's a very nice way of looking at it, even from a reason point of view.
Yeah. Wow, that was beautiful. I guess we're going to put out on our Instagram different things and our other social media, all the lovely books that both Dadu and Pritam have written, translated, and access to their work so that they gain even more readership. So please, please, let's find ways to continue this conversation because they're not far away. You can just meet Pritam in Chennai, and Pritam's going to be in Bangalore soon, and Dadu is also in Bangalore. And if you have any questions, you can always write to them directly. They're very popular people. Thank you all for joining in. I just wanted to say if anyone else has any questions for people online, you may want to ask, or else we call it a night and go and have our whiskeys.
Yes. Yes.
We're
Cheers.
waiting for it. Cheers. So happy to
Okay.
hear this. So yeah, and I guess there are no more questions, but thank you. It was really refreshing.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Lovely meeting you, Dadu.
Yeah, hope you both meet. My secret
Yes.
conspiracy is to make the two of you meet. I think you're
Yeah,
going to
sure.
really hit the ball when you meet. So I'll fix
Sure.
the date.
Okay. Okay. It's a date. Anyway, you make my travel plans and let me know in time.
Yes. Tomorrow morning.
Okay? Okay.
Yeah. Bye,
Thank you.
Pritam.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye. Online. Bye.
Bye, everyone there. Have nice whiskey bought for me. And I haven't seen Ram for a long time.
Yeah, see him.
He's going to be around, right? I
Yeah,
haven't
yeah.
seen him for a long time. You are very busy accumulating knowledge. Huh? You could have brought 2 bottles of scotch. But the way Trump is going, maybe we will all be drinking Bacardis and scotch very cheap. Only our bread and eggs will be costly.
But yeah, we'll all meet when you come here. You guys also come and say bye. And
Pritam, see you soon.
that's all
Yep,
about.
see you soon. Bye. Hey, how's your play going?
Okay, guys.
On the call.
Ah.
You'll see it. You will see it.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Chal, I have to